Hey everyone! So, I've decided to record another episode that's gonna be connected to the previous one. So, if you haven't listened to the previous one, I'm encouraging you to do so. And in this one, we are gonna dive deeper into the whole perspective about what is really happening right now and what this, I would say, inner call for feeling through deeper stuff, through darker stuff, through our shadow. What is this actually asking us? And for a lot of you, I'm really grateful for your feedbacks because this gave me a good perspective of what's accurate for you, what's happening in your life, what's happening within your bodies. And I realized that a lot of you are experiencing a so-called spiritual awakening that might not even be connected to the state that, like, it might not be your first spiritual awakening or however you want to call it, because usually they say that we have one spiritual awakening when we are like just going on an autopilot, and then all of a sudden something hits us and we are like, oh my god, now you're awake. But in my perspective, we have a bunch of spiritual awakening, and we are kind of awakening to a higher level all the time. So how this spiritual awakening is actually happening, and I feel like everything that's happening right now is really pushing us to see beyond limitations, to see beyond the perceptions that we build around who we are, around the world that we live in, and around the structure of how things should be. And when we are in that deep state of pain, or like when we are connected to ourselves, and there is a flavor of, I don't even know how to put it in words, but it's just like a flavor of connection that you're feeling with your soul, with yourself. And I personally feel like there is no greater connection than that, than like when you are deeply present within you and you feel connected to yourself, you feel connected to that, energy within you, and you feel like your ego, your soul, and your mind all became one. And that's like a beautiful, beautiful connection that happens there. And before we reach that point of this beautiful, blissful energy that comes from connection of all our pieces, we can feel very disconnected, we can feel very alone, we can feel very devastated, we can feel in like so much pain that we sometimes think that we will die. And I wanted to be really real with you that I believe that any spiritual awakening, so awakening to the truth, awakening of your higher potential, of like awakening to who you really are, is fucking painful. Like, I don't think you can go through this journey without experiencing so much pain. And I believe that this pain comes from the stories that are dying. Because if you want to awake to a higher perception, if you want to awake to seeing beyond your ego, to seeing beyond the limitation that you created, there are so many stories in your head that have to die. And I think we are still programmed like so deeply around like what is right, what is wrong, around like what is considered beneficial and what's bad and what's good. And I feel like in general it's still considered that feeling pain is bad and feeling sadness is terrible, and like, having days when you're low energy and you feel like all you can do is, sleep and not really, contribute to this life or to this world. It feels like it's a waste of time, a waste of a day. But to be honest, when you're experiencing a a spiritual awakening, which I said it can be done many times, because you can like upgrade to a next level, and every time you are having this upgrade, it can feel like harder than previous one. And to be honest, I would say that what feels hard is when we resist it. Like, that's the hardest part for me. It's like usually when I feel like something like this is coming, when I feel like there is a new thing that is emerging from me that wanted to be processed, that wanted to be experienced, I feel like if I'm resisting it and I'm saying like, no, I don't have time right now, I need to go, do this, I need to finish this project, I need to be there for my clients, and as long as I'm keep on postponing to answer on that call from within, it's gonna feel like suffering, it's gonna feel like so hard. But I would say that, like, for me personally, it became easier to face what's coming up than to run away. Like, I honestly cannot run away from my own stuff anymore, because living day-to-day life with that inner feeling of like, oh, there's something chasing me, there's some kind of feeling that is behind everything that I'm trying to present, behind my so-called happiness, behind my so-called like I have everything figured out life. I cannot live with that kind of feeling anymore, with knowing that there's something behind me that is unprocessed. So I realized that I really value that I have peace within me. And in the end, I think it's all just about that. It's just about like questioning yourself. What do you value more? Do you value more inner peace and happiness? Or do you value more the stories that you created in your head of how your life should be like? Or even the stories of who should be in your life? Or the stories around like how should people perceive you and what kind of opinion should people have of you? And I feel like once you realize that peace and happiness are your highest priorities, then it's so much easier to deal with what's really happening within. It's easier to deal with the truth, and it's also easier to let go of things that are not serving you, of things that are not beneficial for you. But as long as you are holding on, so if you are holding on to the stories that you created, which I feel this is an important part of our lives, where we are all called to evaluate the stories that we created so far, because we have created so many stories, and we have a whole society that is functioning in such a bizarre way. Like, I don't know, if you are just looking at the structure of these borders, or the structure of the governments and the financial structure and everything, I believe everything is just like done so wrong and in such a bizarre thing that cannot be sustainable. And I love to look at our planet as I said in the previous episode, as one individual organism. And each of us is contributing to that organism. So we are all of us are cells of that organism. And if you look within our body and the way cells function, we actually have like 50 trillion cells in our body. And all of these cells, they have to collaborate. They have to work together. There is a beautiful synergy happening between the cells. There's no way for ego to appear and one cell saying like, or one organ saying like, hey, we're not going to contribute with you anymore. It's like, okay, that means the death of the whole, body, whole individual. And I feel like that's what we are doing with the earth. It's like, instead of like collaborating and being like as a one union in this whole planet, we are just like fighting each other and being like, hey, I'm gonna do this, hey, it's really stupid from a nature perspective, and it's not sustainable. There's no way this is a sustainable structure that we created. That's why also in the times like this, when there is a shift happening, when there is like nature doing something, we are like lost. It's like, it feels like, hey, we don't know how to function anymore, because we definitely don't have a system that goes hand in hand with nature. And one more thing that is fascinating with the body and the cells is that cells in general, they have ATP as their source of energy. So even though like every cell can produce energy from glucose, the active energy that they can use is ATP. And they cannot use glucose without the whole metabolism of producing ATP. And there is plenty of glucose available all the time, but when it comes to ATP, every cell has only enough ATP for 3 seconds, which means that if we just count 1, 2, 3, there is no more ATP in the cells if there's wouldn't be like more of it produced. And I always found this like very fascinating, because you can look like everything in the cell functions on ATP, and you can look as ATP as a money, and in our life everything is basically, we can get stuff and we exchange stuff with money. And we always feel like we have to accumulate, we have to have so much, we have to, we never have enough and all this stuff. And then you look at the cell, and the cell is like, oh, I have enough for 3 seconds, that's good. I know that in the next second there's going to be more. And, it's like this constant faith and constant flow of energy, of like collaboration, of just providing. And also just the fact that the whole body has enough energy. So every single cell in our body has enough energy. And if we look at our society, well, we don't really provide, for most of the people in this world. It's just like, it's a game. It's like a game that we play of like who will have more. It's not about providing the needs. It's about like playing with ego and just being like, hey, who will have more? And some of the things that I said right now came from Dr. Lipton, Bruce Lipton. But some of the things are also like my own observation. Because I've been always fascinating with the cells, and I've always been fascinating to just connect how the cells are, or looking at the cells and how they're functioning, and also looking at ourselves as individuals. And I'm just like, I think everything is happening right now is a huge opportunity for us to see a bigger picture, to look at the world and the society as something else, as like, instead of like seeing us as different races and different nationalities and different backgrounds and all of stuff, we can just, my wish would be to actually look at us as, all a part of the same energy, and we are all having the same needs, and we're all having the same desires to live a happy and joyful life. And why not stepping together and doing something magical? These are my personal beliefs around like how wrong I mean, even though I said there's no right or wrong, but how wrong we are with the way we are trying to lead this planet, trying to lead this countries and governments and all those stuff. I think this is shitty things that we can discuss any other time. But for your personal growth, for your personal soul evolution, I would say that this time is perfect to evaluate what you're willing to let go, because that will be needed. I think we both know, you and me, that there are so many things that will have to go. And I know it can be scary to let go of some of the things, but I also feel it's so crucial. And when we come to the conclusion within ourselves what needs to go, and when we know, when you come to that deep feeling of knowing, it's so much easier to do the change. When you do the change and you let go of what's no longer serving you, and you can start exploring yourself through new experiences, through new collaborations, through new partnerships, through new relationships. And usually it's like new things won't come until the old ones are gone. And we are the one who are choosing what we are allowing in our personal space, what we are allowing in our lives. And if I can share something personal, I would say that one of the biggest realizations that I had in the past 2-3 months has been that I was really used to self-abandon myself for the sake of gaining other people like validation or other people's love. And that was one of the things that, like, now I'm so deeply aware and conscious about my patterns around self-abandoning. And when I'm observing it, it's crazy to see how willing I am to suppress my desires, suppress my needs, suppress everything I feel like it's the right thing to do, or is my intuition telling me that it's the truth, just for the sake of getting the validation from the other, or just for the sake of keeping them around, or just for the sake of like not causing a fight. And that's something that I know it will take a lot of years to actually go through it and do big changes around it, because self-abandoning is within ourselves, from our ancestors, from all the past generations, from our past lifetimes, because we were never really free to be who we are. We are living under this huge program of who we have to be liked. And I feel like we're just now starting to break free from everything. So I'm not saying that it's gonna be easy, or it's just gonna be like one decision. Hey, I'm not gonna self-sabotage myself anymore. And I'm not gonna abandon myself for others anymore. But it's just like realizing that you have this tendency that you suppress your needs, suppress your desires, just so you can have others around you that will support you, that will, validate you, whatever. And it's crazy to in the end realize that your self-abandoning is actually causing that, you don't get from other people what you think you would, because you are just creating this environment of like, oh, I'm used to being abandoned, I'm used to being, like I'm nothing. And then you project this in the world, and that's what you get back. It's just your own personal projection that is happening. But anyway, I feel like with everything that we are going through right now, and with this awakening that is happening, there is a mass awakening happening. It's like, holy shit, we've been praying for that. Like, I can't believe how many people are awakening to the truth right now. It's amazing. But at the same time, be gentle with yourself, be conscious, but also allow yourself to have these patterns, or allow yourself to feel the pain, allow yourself to be weird, to be wild, to be too much, to be too little, to be not enough, whatever. It's like there's so many things that are coming up right now, and it's not an easy time. It's definitely not an easy time, but at the same time, I feel so empowered to see that we are massively going through an awakening, and that there are so many souls that are entering higher dimensions, that are willing to go on this high-flying disc of seeing the truth and seeing what's higher than our limited perception, what's higher than our programs that we've been taught to believe in. And yeah, I feel like this is really empowering and really beautiful. But in general, what I wanted to say through this episode is just to keep on observing yourself, keep on being gentle with yourself, be aware that what you're experiencing is probably some sort of spiritual awakening to a higher level, and that always takes time. And my personal opinion of what is the best possible remedy for spiritual awakening is to hold yourself. Just hold yourself, hug yourself, and be there for yourself. Keep saying to yourself nice things. Keep repeating to yourself, I love you, I will always be here, you always have me. And at the same time, because you have these two personalities within you, you have a nurturer and you have a child that needs attention. At the same time, allow yourself to be the child and ask for help. Just pray to something above you, to the energies around you, to your inner self, to whoever you want to pray. Just pray, I need your help. I need you to be here with me. I just want to feel supported. I just want to feel love. Can you please tell me? Can you please stay with me? Can I please feel your connection? And then I demand to get instant support right now, to feel the loving energy around me, to feel that I'm connected, to feel that I'm guided, and ask for whatever you want. And at the same time, give it to yourself and play that two-sided roles, that one, you are a nurturer, and the other, you are a child that needs to be nurtured. And allow yourself to play both roles. And I promise you, if you're just sticking to that and you're playing the both roles for yourself every single day for a couple of days or a week or 2 weeks or how long you need it, actually you should do it every single day till the rest of your life, because that's the connection that we all crave, like that connection with yourself. But anyway, if you're just doing it for as long as it's needed on every single day basis, you will see that you will gain the level of love you have never experienced before. You will gain peace. You will feel joyful. You'll feel happy. You feel so empowered. And this is something that you cannot buy it. anywhere. You cannot get it anywhere. You cannot get it from another person. No one can give it to you. And it's about your own personal practice to get there. And I know you can get there. I know this is within you. I know you can be the support that you need for yourself. And I really, really wish for you to just find that courage and ask for help. Ask for help. Ask for help. And then give yourself help. And give yourself help. And give yourself help. Just play both of these roles. And if you at any point feel like you need extra support, you need someone to guide you through healing. Healings are very beneficial in this stages, or you need any kind of like mental support to guide you through this process, feel free to reach out. That's why we are here, to support each other and to be there for each other's journeys. So thank you guys for taking this time to listen. I hope this benefits you. I would really appreciate if you subscribe to my podcast, share it with your friends, and also maybe share it on your IG story and tag me in it so I can see that you were enjoying it. So thank you so much, and talk to you soon. Ciao, ciao.